So today I'm going to be replacing the fuse for my fuel pump on my 2011 Ford FX4. Problem I'm running into is sometimes when I need a little extra power, like passing a slow vehicle or something like that, sometimes that extra acceleration will make the fuse blow and will leave you stranded on the side of the road. No bueno, right? So Ford has come up with a kit. They realize they have this problem. They've come up with a kit to fix the problem and have decided to not give you, the customer, the kit, but they charge you, the customer, for the kit to fix a problem that they know they have, that they made for you to fix yourself. You dropped the ball, Ford. Shame on you for that one. Love my truck, not so much loving Ford's decision making on taking care of their customer. That being said, the kit is Motorcraft. There's your part numbers: Whiskey Tango 56872 1 X-ray, Echo Lima 3 Zulu -14293 Alpha. And this is a terminal kit. Juego de terminales. I'm not very good at Spanish, but there you go. That was my best effort. We'll rip this pack open. As you can see, I so expertly did one-handed there. Pull out its contents. There's some other part numbers. I don't know if those are significant. We'll show that anyway. Echo Lima 3 Tango -14293 Alpha. We'll open this up and we'll take out the instructions one-handed best I can. And we'll take these instructions, and since I'm making the video, you can take these instructions right here that they're giving you to show you your step-by-step procedures with their somewhat poor quality pictures, and you can throw that crap away because we don't need that, because hey, I'm taking care of that part for you. Now, you should have a black wire in here with a male end, half stripped in there. We should also have a couple of heat shrink tubes. One's a little smaller diameter than the other. So 2 heat shrink tubes. Try not to let the wind blow all my parts away here. And then we should also have the replacement fuse, which is now one of these nice big clock fuses. And let's see, that is a 20 amp. So we have a 20 amp fuse there. And then the new sticker that you will put inside your, what do we call it? A PD, the fuse panel. Let's be for real. We're putting it in the fuse panel so that whoever may come along behind me, should I ever sell this truck, will know that the upgrade has been done. So that's the parts you need for this upgrade. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to head to the PDB. I call it a fuse panel. And there's 2 tabs on here, and you just simply push these tabs away from you and pull up. And I'm going to do this one-handed if it will let me, so that I can record with the other. So push and pull up. And we're looking for the fuel pump fuse, and that would be number 27. And there's number 27 right there, which is right here. And I believe they come from the factory with a 15 amp. And I think all I had was 10s the last time it put me on the side of the road, so I put a 10 in it. It's okay to go lower, don't go higher in amperage. So we're going to pull this out, and I'll see if I can show you. I'm actually going to set this to the side for a spare fuse should I need it somewhere else, since I know that fuse is still good. But we're going to see if I can get enough light in here. You can see how it looks to be pretty melted in there. That's why we're replacing this with the upgraded kit. So next step is we're going to move over here to the battery, And we're gonna take our 8mm socket and we're gonna disconnect the positive terminal, being careful not to bump anything. If you would like, you may also disconnect the negative first, just to keep you from accidentally grounding out on a bolt or something like that. So we're just gonna go ahead and disconnect this from the positive side using the 8mm. And loosen it up a little more. And let's try that again. One-handed. It's always best. There we go. Got a little corrosion I need to clean. And what we'll do is we'll probably take something, put in between here to keep it from accidentally coming down and retouching and making something hot again, because we do not want that. So what I'm actually doing next, since I'm not disconnecting my ground, which I honestly probably should, but I'm not, is I'm taking this, and you can see how this is already trying to relax and reconnect, and I don't want that to happen while I'm working over here. So I'm just gonna take the bag that my parts came in, and I'm gonna stuff it over. I'm gonna stuff it over this. Okay, now we've wrapped the bag around here, and I put any excess between the terminal and the connector just as an extra bit of caution. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trace this red line up until I see a clip that is holding the wire in place. I'm going to undo that, so I'm going to get a screwdriver to help me pry that loose. That was much easier with two hands. I just literally put the screwdriver right here and I just hit the back to force it out. Okay, I went and got us a light, so hopefully you all can see this next part a little bit better. But we have 3 more tabs that are back here by the radiator cooling fans that we're going to remove. So I'm just tracing, so we have our red wire that comes back, goes into our panel, and then we have this bigger wiring harness here that's going to come around and wrap underneath, and there's a tab here that is holding it in, and then you're going to come around, trying to make sure you can see everything here, and there's another tab here, and then there should be a third tab right there. So we're going to pull that tab, this tab, and that tab. But that's where they are located, directly beneath our PDB fuse panel. We'll pull those 3, and then we'll move on to our next step. And for our next step, we're going to remove the fuse panel. I have a little ladder there to help me get over the brush guard into it. You may also find one of those helpful. And in case you have not heard the dad joke, this one is for you. This is my step ladder. I never actually knew my real ladder. So the clips we're going to go to are right here in the front. So we have 2 clips here that we're just going to pry our screwdriver into, just like that, or rather like that. And there are 4 of those. You're just going to hold that forward as you lift up on the box. So you'll pry with one hand, lift up on this corner, pry this one, pick up on that corner, and then you'll have 2 also in the back, right here. One there, and one over here. And we'll do the same thing. We will push the screwdriver in there behind it, and we'll lift up on this corner here. Same for this one. Pull that out, with your screwdriver, and you'll pick up on this corner here. Don't try to pick up on this piece, that's attached elsewhere. So those 4 clips, we'll pull this out, and that's where we'll pick up. Okay, got this box loose. As you see, it's not going to come all the way out. You're literally just getting it loose at this point. So it's loose, this wire is attached to it. But what we want to do now is we have some electrical tape that comes around the right hand side and also the, let's see if I can get some light over here, the left hand side right there. So we're going to just remove those pieces of electrical tape right here on this side and over here on the right side. Now we're going to open up our power distribution box, a fuse panel, and we're going to remove the power cable here, not with the 8mm because that doesn't work. Instead, we're going to use a 10mm, and that works very well. Just going to remove that out of the way. It's exceptionally long bolt, and pull these wires out of the way. One-handed. There we go. And now both of those wires are out of the way. I'll take the nut, replace it back on here for now, so as to not lose that. Okay, our next step, we're going to close the power distribution box, fuse panel. And we're going to remove the clips that hold the top half of this together in a specific order. So let's do this in this order. I don't know the reason for this order yet. I may find out as I go. This is just the order that is recommended. So if we look to the left side, we have one right here. So that'll be the first one we do. Then we move back to the back part, and we have 2, and then 3, and then to the right hand side there's number 4. That'll be the order for those first 4. Then we come back to the front, we have 5, 6 right here in between, 7, and then 8 right there. So that will be the order we take these apart in. So we'll remove clip 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we'll do 5, 6, 7, 8. That is the order we take it apart. Okay, now I have that separated from the base so that we'll be able to get in behind here to all these wires. Now I do still have this dude clipped onto the top, which makes it very hard to maneuver this fuse panel. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my screwdriver and I'm gonna pry that loose and see if that in fact helps make this more accessible. So I'm gonna do that. Just a helpful tip, what I'm doing to get this to remove, not sure if you can see underneath here or not, but I am prying against the base of that holder with my screwdriver as I push down on the top of my fuse panel. So I'm prying up on the base of that here, pushing down here, and that seems to be helping get it loose. Okay, we got that wiring harness loose. Okay, so something else I'm also going to do to help rock this forward, I'm going to remove this cover. all I'm gonna do is take it, pull it all the way back, and then I'm gonna pull it back to me like that to get that to come off just like that. And we'll just set that up to the side. Now I can take this whole thing, because what you're gonna find when you get back here, we're looking for a red and blue wire. Well, guess what? There are lots of red and blue wires back here. We want to make sure we're getting the red and blue wire that came out from the fuse we pulled. So we know it's going to be in this area. So as I roll this, I keep in mind about where I want to look. And then put a little light down here, maybe this will help. If you can see, at least on this truck, you see how there's a little white plastic run in the back there. I hope you can see that. Let's see if I can point it out with some pliers. So there's a white run right back in there that those pliers are touching. That is where the red and blue wire that I'm wanting is coming out of, and you can actually see it right there. Right there is my red and blue wire that runs down through there. So that is my red and blue wire I'm looking for. Okay, so now that I have my correct red and blue wire located, I'm going to cut it so that there's only about 2 inches left down in there that's still going to be connected. So, see if I can get that angle. We're cutting that just like that. And then what we'll do is we'll take our shrink wrap that they came in the kit, the ES1, the smaller one, and we will put over the wire that is going back to the old fuse panel, and then we will just fish out the new wire, and then we'll heat shrink this to close off the old connection. Okay, so we got the red and blue wire out, and we have our other one right there that we're about to cover with our heat shrink, and then we'll tie in our wire that came in our kit with this one, and then we'll solder and heat shrink it, and then add it in to the number 70 slot. And there's already another wire there, so you'll have your connection made just by adding the wire that came in the kit. Okay, so I will need the heat gun for this application, because we gotta get over in here, put the heat on there, and try not to melt the other wires in the process. And then after I get that heated to where you start to see the glue or the adhesive flow, we'll just take the pliers and start pinching it just like that onto the wire that we cut. Then we'll come back, start working with this guy. Okay, I got that other one heat gunned on, and it shrunk quite easily. It doesn't take just a ton of heat. And pinched on there, and you could actually see adhesive coming out the end. So that's good, tucked back in, out of the way. So now we're going to come back to this one. First thing I'm going to do is take my ES2 tube that came in here, and I'm going to slide it on over there first. Alright, so I got my helper to run the camera for me, but so I'm taking my red and blue wire that I've cut, I've stripped. I have my bigger shrink tube, my ES2, and then I have my black wire that came into the kit, or in with the kit, and I'm just going to twist these together, just like that, and then I'm going to solder that connection. And you want to make sure that you're using a solder that has a rosin core. I want to make sure it says a rosin core on there. That's the kind of solder that is recommended for this application. So I'm gonna heat my gun from the bottom, and then I'll add my rosin core on the top until the wire itself melts it into the wire. Then after that's done, I'll take this, pull it forward like that, and then the tube will slide up, cover that, then we'll heat that tube and crimp it all in. Then this end will be ready to plug into our number 70 slot. Okay, so we're gonna get on over in here, and I'm just taking my heat gun, applying it to the bottom of the wire here, and this is a 60 Hz 1 amp 120 volt soldering iron, so hopefully it won't be too long heating these wires up. You want to heat it up just enough to melt the solder, but not start melting the insulation around the wire, of course. Okay, so not a beautiful soldering job, but I did get it all the way around. A better soldering gun would have been preferred. So all I'm going to do is now fold this wire back on itself like this, and then I'm going to slide my heat tube up. Let's try that. And slowly start just working that up over that ugly soldering job I did, but it will hold. I'm confident in that. Now, come on. There we go. So now I got the solder joint, about midway there. And now we'll just take our heat gun, and there we go. See it start working there. And then what I'll do is take my pliers and just kind of pinch it, and you can kind of see that glue bubble up out of there a little bit. So I'll just pinch it down through there, make sure it's on nice and good. Okay, so where I'm at now is I've just taken literally just a piece of vine that I had growing next to my carport here, and I have just slid it down into where the number 8 slot is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, where I know my wire has to go, and I've just slid it down in there so that when I turn this back over, I will know exactly where I gotta plug this in. So as I pull up on all these wires, you can see it right there, and that tells me where my black wire needs to be going. So I will feed that black wire right into there. So you could probably use a toothpick or just anything to slide down through there that's small enough that'll help you locate where the end of this wire needs to go in amongst all of this chaos of wire. So maybe that little tip will help. Okay, so we got it plugged in, and the blade of it goes flat in like this, so it doesn't go sideways and in, it goes flat and in, and you think you can see it going in there. It'll be right next to a silver and red, and it looks like a white and red wire. So it'll be on the number 8, counting from the top left to right, in the number 70 slot. So now we got all that together. I'll just kind of fold this wire in, tuck it in to Just kind of get it out of the way. And then we'll just do everything in reverse, put it all back together. Okay, got all the pieces snapped back in place here. Got my front wire put back in. Got these tabs mounted back on, front and back, and all 8 of our clips that went around the side that we did in order. And now all we have to do is add our 20 amp fuse into our slot there. So, woo-woo, it's one we were after. So we'll also add our sticker over here to our number 70 slot. And now last, and possibly the most important, go into your owner's manual, find your fuses page that holds your number 27 fuse, your fuel pump relay power 20 amp fuse, and scratch out the 2 and add 70, so that should you ever sell or trade in your vehicle, the poor fellow who should possibly ever need to know where his fuse is won't be left figuring out why there's no fuse in 27, and when he puts one in there, why it doesn't work. Please don't do that to the next guy. And that's it. It works, everything fires right up, and hopefully that will take care of the fuel pump blowing the fuse.